Hello. See, we have some participants starting to jump on and join. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me. So we'll give everybody about 2 minutes, 3 minutes to get going, to hop on. If somebody can just send me a message, like a little comment or something, or a thumbs up, just to let me know you can hear the volume. The volume's okay. I always worry about that. I'll screen a little bit here for you. All right. Thank you both. Appreciate it. Sometimes I wind up having the volume up too loud, and then there's feedback. I think we had that with mine in my first Java for Joe's. So learning as we go, getting out of the comfort zone. So hello again as more people are joining. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for bearing with me too, as I had something come up yesterday. I had to reschedule, so I appreciate it. So it's 3:32. We'll wait another minute or two. We're at 14 people now. Hopefully everybody's got their power back and all at this point. Just going to check over some of my notes. Oh, happy Friday. Okay, let's wait another minute, and then we'll get going. Alrighty, so as I usually do, I'll start with kind of my little agenda that I go through, and then I will take questions that come up during our discussion. Just as some housekeeping notes, again, hello to any teachers that have hopped on. If there's any questions from teachers, please reach out to your principal. And they will be happy to assist you. It was tricky finding the link. I'm sorry. I'll make sure that the direct link is on the next time we send out a communication. I believe also if you subscribe to the channel, it'll give you an automatic alert when I'm on too. But we can make sure we include that link for you. So you can find me. All right, so let's see. Sorry if you see me check my I have my notes kind of all around me in the comments just to my right. So if you see me looking off, I'm giving you my full attention. I just am trying to make sure I'm covering everything. So I've heard some questions about what's needed for home instruction. So for home instruction, you're going to get all the same supplies. And there's there's a couple different reasons for that. But the main thing is that we're trying to make that remote instruction as close to in-person as we can. So, papers, pencils, all the different things you would get, you would still get them, because things like workbooks and everything like that, when they come in, we'll set up a way for different grade levels at different times to come up and pick up your materials. Same way, if something during the school year comes up that needs to be picked up, we will do the same thing. And if we have to make some deliveries, we'll make some deliveries too. The one thing that Ms. Snuffin is changing on the supply list is Clorox wipes. So don't worry about Clorox wipes. As I understand it, they're extremely hard to find, and I've even heard they weren't going to be selling them again until close to 2021. I don't know how true that is, but we have plenty of sanitizer here, so don't worry about Clorox wipes. We took care of that, and we'll continue to take care of the different sanitizing items that are aligned with the CDC and everything else that comes out. I want to thank the administrative team for putting together the day in the life video. There was a special shout out that I did receive for Miss Mawson in her portrayal of a middle school student. So thank you, Miss Mawson, for really getting into the acting part of our day in the life video. And that's on our website if anybody wants to take a look or take another look at it. Thanks to Hillman for helping us out with a bus that day and some students to kind of demonstrate what a temp check and the health screening would look like at a bus stop. Okay. So I did see some questions in the survey about allergies. So as best we can, we would group students with allergies together. So if we have two students in the same grade that have, say, a peanut allergy, we would want to put them in the same classroom, just for the purpose of safety, and make sure that, that they aren't exposed to that allergen. And again, we take all the mitigating efforts that we can, regardless of what the situation is. I've received some messages about some, what kind of things are we going to be providing for professional development. Again, we still have some what if situations, and so I'm answering a parent question here, or parents. So we'll be doing intensive instruction regarding teaching through Zoom, and that's we'll be doing that on September 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. By contract, teachers also have a stipulation where they can take 6 hours. They can volunteer and do 6 hours of PD, and then they don't have to attend a PD day during the year. It's called a flex option. So there is that they can utilize. But we certainly will be providing intensive training with Zoom and all the nuances on the first 3 days of school, as well as some equity work and some social emotional learning and different things like that. A question came into me about what if the governor were to pull the plug, so to speak, and not have school in full session if we were to go all virtual. So the professional development we would do would be the same. We would just be doing it virtually, and it gives us the ability. We can group teachers, and we have people that are versed in Zoom. We have tutorials from them. There's a lot of really good tutorials. There's a lot of good professional development out there. A lot of really nifty tricks you can use. So, regardless, we would make sure that everybody had the professional development that they needed. As far as if we were to be mandated to go virtual prior to the start of the school year. That decision has not been made by the governor. The governor has not changed anything. His press conference today, his briefing, he did say that there was a new FAQ on the Department of Education website. So between his briefing ending and doing things around here and the start of this, I skimmed it. I'll be going through it further tonight and over the weekend. So let's just make sure I'm covering everything. Someone had asked a question about PLC groups. So teachers are required to do PLC groups from September to June, twice a month. So that is how our professional learning communities work. And as far as putting classes together, whether they're heterogeneous or leveled by academic achievement. So the classes that we normally will do, if it's 7th grade advanced or Algebra 1, we'll follow the protocols we have used in the past as the best we can with the amount of data that we have. I did want to talk about the results of our survey, just so everybody knows where we are. So we had asked, the deadline was noon on Wednesday. And again, I know it's a difficult decision for many parents. So as of right now, we have accounted for 641 students. So of that 641 students, responding, or parents responding for all their children. So 60% have chosen to come back for in-person, and 40% have opted for 100% remote. Now, if we take the total student population, our population's around 815, 818, something like that, we have about 70, our response rate for the total population is about 77%. So of that 77%, right now, 47% have opted for in-person and 31% online. So if you haven't filled out the survey, we really need you to do that. We have talked to several parents over several days. And again, I know it's a deeply personal and difficult decision for many people, but, we really need to do to get all those results so we can set our rosters and, we can best prepare, for the upcoming school year. As far as at home remote instruction as well, I've had some questions about iPads. And we will make sure that each child has an iPad, so you don't have to worry about purchasing an iPad for your child. And if you have 4 children, each child will get an iPad. If anybody has any issues with internet connectivity or anything like that, just please reach out to us. We have some resources we can help you with too. So I'm going to head over, I think it's the questions that somebody saw. So I'm going to do my best to answer the questions that are in the in our chat section here. So homework policy, that's a good question. We have not discussed homework policy yet. And again, that's something that as administrators, I think we can take a look at our homework policy. I'd like to talk to some colleagues to see what they are going to be looking at as far as how homework goes. Because we want to provide the highest quality of education we can. And I do acknowledge that this will be stressful for everybody. But we want to make sure that we find a nice balance, and that we provide reinforcement when needed, and we provide enrichment, as we teach our students, as we provide instruction. Let's see. If we keep our children home first marking period, would the transition of going back second marking period be smooth? So that's one of the things that the department came out with, is you have to have a kind of a reintroduction plan. So what we would look to do is if a child were home doing remote the first marking period, and they were going to come back second marking period, we might have you bring your child in, depending on your schedule, a day or two ahead of time, walk around, have their mask on, kind of try to walk them through their day, look at their classroom, and have our counselors available, or, the person that they feel comfortable with. So we would look to do something like that. Yes. So we want it to be as smooth as possible coming back. You're welcome. Thank you for the nice compliment. So temp checks for walkers and people who have to be at work. So you can designate somebody that lives in your house as well. Some people have older siblings, or maybe other family members that live in the house. And we are opening PALs earlier. Right now we're going to try and aim for 6:15. As far as that goes, but the concern with not having it be somebody from the same domicile is that if a student is symptomatic, then you're spreading it between two households potentially, and we're trying not to take any chances with that. Let's see here. So as far as keyboards on the iPads, I do know that we do have some, but that's something we will look at as far as when we're speaking of more lengthy assignments and what that would look like. So it's right now we're making sure everybody gets the technology they need. And then looking at different things, and also, where we are budgetarily. Oop. Let's see. So a curriculum question in language arts, plan for elementary ed. Calkins being used. You don't see how this program works best with the remote guidelines that need to be followed. So, we have in the past, we've used Calkins, but we've also made sure that we properly put the grammar component in. And if we need to do more of that, we will. As far as doing it remotely, when you're talking about small groups, Zoom does have a feature of breakout rooms, so you can have smaller groups, so you can, in essence, do virtual centers in that manner. And also, if we hear of a practice that another district's doing, as far as their small group reading and things like that, and when it comes to remote, of course, we would absolutely love to hear what they're doing. So based on the 40% identified remote learners, would there be a remote class for each grade level? It does appear that way. That there will be a remote class at each grade level. again, it's paramount that we get all of our students accounted for through the survey. So parents, if you're on here and you haven't yet filled out the survey with your educational decision for your child, please do as soon as you can. If you know somebody who hasn't, please encourage them to, because it helps us set our finalized rosters and how we're gonna run our remote class, and it does have some scheduling impact. Let's see. So the question is, I'm sorry, sometimes the screen jumps up on me a little bit. Okay, so the question is, why won't returning students simply be put into the classroom with a virtual teacher? This way the students return the virtual teacher, keeps the class, and the student won't have to have a new teacher. So when you have a remote class, if a child comes back, let's say we had only one child come back second working period, that would mean that you'd only have one student in a class all day with the teacher who's teaching the entire remote class. So it would just be them and the teacher all day. So that would be a reason we wouldn't do something like that, because we'd want them to be able to be around their peers. Will there be small group instruction for reading and writing in classrooms? Yeah, to the best of our ability, we will. We'll look at practices as a way to do that. Our principals will, look at best practices and as best practices in the opening of a school in a pandemic, to see again how we make that work and what that looks like as we move forward. Right. How many staff members will be completing the screenings at the school for check-ins in the morning? In the video you sent out, it took about 35 seconds for you to check in one student. So our goal is 10. Our goal is to get 10 people for screening. So we believe we can get that screening down a lot quicker than 35 seconds. But we have a pretty good idea of placement of students and where students will be coming in and lining up. So yeah, we'd like to get between 9 and 10 screeners. So that's our goal, to get there, and to be as quick as we can, to be as efficient as we can, but we don't want to miss anything. Let's see. All right, so some questions that come in about specific classifications of kids regarding special ed. We will reach out to you, or a principal or Ms. Braidwood will reach out to you just for the sake of confidentiality. But when we're talking about students that exhibit symptoms, part of the question that you asked is something that I also need to ask Dr. Nwarko at the health department about. So the county set up an email just dedicated purely for the superintendent of the county to send emails and questions right to our county health official. Let's see, question about homework. I would agree that looking at the homework policy would be important, given the stressors. So, as I said before, we can, let me put that on my notes, and we will be happy to take a look. So make sure I get everything. What iPad model will the children be using? I would like to know. Should I decide the person? We can get you the particulars of the iPads that Mr. Hempel put through. They'll be the same, the equivalent of what we have had. But we can get you the iPad type. Keeping in mind, we will be providing everybody with one. So when we talk about implications for the governor's requirements for students to wear masks, no. So he, in his FAQ that he put out today, and he did touch on it briefly the other day, they can remove their mask when eating, or drinking. Sorry, my screen. Okay, per the classroom diagram, desks are 4 to 6 feet apart. If someone tests positively, the entire class have to self-quarantine, as they would meet the definition of close contact. So basically what we've done is we believe, and of course we're going to double check this, is that every desk, person to person will be 6 feet apart. So the question really becomes, if somebody were to be symptomatic and they sit in the front right corner of the classroom, and if students we have the shields and everybody has their mask, and they're not within 6 feet, right? Because close contact to is 6 feet for 10 minutes or more. Would they need to go into quarantine? And that's a question that we're asking the county office, because I want to make sure I'm in line with what the rest of the county's doing. I don't want to practice, medicine without a license, or anything like that. But we want to, always err on the side of caution. But again, take our guidance from the county office when it comes to some things like that. Outdoor schedules, we're working on them, trying to make sure we can get the kids outside. Varying times for recess with staggered schedules, and how we're going to run PE, and different things like that. The same way we want to make sure we get creative with our visual performing arts as well, so we can keep our programs going. If a student must be sent home for quarantining or monitoring, but still feels well, would the student be able to temporarily attend school via remote live stream? Yes. Yeah, so it's one of those things where if somebody, for precautionary reasons, can't come into school, we put you in the remote learning or virtual learning protocol. And that's part of what we're doing now, is setting up the proper technology to do those things, and looking at the most effective way to do that, where we are respecting all the confidentiality, and putting the camera, towards the smart board, which most teachers work off of, or in that, generic teacher area. Alrighty. Okay. Still working on here to make sure I'm sure I've missed a few comments, so I apologize if I do. I see some comments on here that are thanking Mr. Silva and Ms. Mawson. So I just want to make sure I say that too. Thank you both for the tremendous amount of work you've done. There's days you've spent the entire day in my office, and just watching you work and write all over the whiteboard and create a lot of documents and really brainstorm and talk things out. It's impressive to watch. So thank you. Student schedules. So student schedules to give out, we typically have given them out mid-August, third week in August in the past. It will also depend on, getting all the parent responses in. So, we will start to reach out to parents where we don't have a decision, which will take us a little longer, which is why we would ask that all parents do fill out our survey. It really will make the process smoother, because the one thing we don't want to do is say, well, if somebody doesn't fill it out, then we're just going to mark you as remote, or we're going to mark you as, you're going to come in person. We want to make sure that we get the decision from the parent as to what they choose to do. Are schools exempt from emergency drills? If not, how will they be handling them? So we're not exempt, but there's been a lot of modifications that have been done as far as emergency drills go, and how we will do them, and keeping social distancing, and with our masks, and the signage that the county office is going to provide for us. So while there's not an exemption, they will be done differently. I can tell you, we won't huddle in a corner or anything like that with certain drills. We will make sure that things are done in an orderly, fashion, to make sure that, again, we're mitigating. But yeah, that was sent out by the Office of Preparedness. Has any decision been made on as to how PALS will look for the students? Will they be allowed to bring small toys such as match cars? So PALS will be sectioned off, so that students have their own section. We will not allow sharing of toys, just because we don't want any if someone is asymptomatic, we want to make sure we're not passing anything inadvertently. What I will do is have Mrs. Weber reach out to you. She's our manager of PALS, because she's done a lot of hard work about the process of how we're going to have students in the morning. Make sure we keep everybody socially distanced, have a place for students to eat breakfast if they're in before, if they're in PALS before the school day starts, and, how we're going to go about, toys for students, and not sharing toys, and then how, our disinfecting will go, and then getting ready for, when afternoon, PALS begins. Okay, we got some. Let's see. Let me make sure I got it. Okay. Will there still be streaming into an in-person classroom? So that's the part when we have students that go out, under the COVID protocol or different things like that. That's when we remote them in, or we virtually stream them in. If we have 30, if let's say we have 20 kids in a grade that all are on remote, then they become a remote classroom. Let's see. So what happens if too many students in one class are at home or in quarantine? The class has 12 and 8 are out. So that's a situation that we talk about a lot of what ifs. So that would be a situation where, the 8 kids are out, we'd have to Zoom them in for virtual with the rest of their class. Because what I'm taking from that question is that those 20 students, started in person. We really don't want to have any classes that large, but I see your question. Okay. The close contact is one who was within 6 feet of you for more than 10 minutes for at least 2 days before a positive test. If you didn't have any symptoms, or 2 days before your first symptoms appeared. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that for me. I appreciate it. Could I please speak up? I'm sorry. Let me turn my mic up a little bit. There we go. That should be better. Are students at home expected to be on their iPad the entire day, or would there be time to complete classwork and then tune back into remote instruction? So we rely on, teachers to use their professional judgment. As far as, screen time. Now, remember, Zoom does have breakout rooms, so teachers can work with one group in a breakout room while another group may be working on an independent assignment for 10 minutes and then come back. But, the expectation is that students are in attendance for all classes. And then, one of the things we'll work on in PD with our teachers is how to, in essence, do circles or center times, things like that through Zoom, through small group lessons, and also giving kids a break for 5 minutes or so, or anything like that. Will there be any sports? I hope at some point there will be. Right now we are not having fall sports. In our reopening plan, there's 3 different times that I'm going to reevaluate. That also depends on what kind of governor's orders come out. If something comes out ahead of time, we are. But, in high school, it's a little different because, they're members of NJSIAA. So they're using their protocols. But as of right now, our sports are our fall sports. We do not have them on the books as of yet. I can't predict the future, but if something were to happen where we could get, an all clear or something where we could do fall sports in the spring, that's something we would definitely look into if that's feasible, if that's possible, even if it's an abbreviated season. We just want to make sure we do it safely. Okay. We are still looking into, benches and tents and things like that. And again, tents require a permit. So, we have been looking at quotes. Mr. Pratt's been looking at some quotes for us, and some different things like that, that we want to make sure, we get what's safest, and best for the school, for everybody. And as far as things like, if we were talking about like things like band, Mr. Spratt has been thinking of some creative ways and trying to communicate with us as to how instruments and lessons and band could be done. So we're working hard, whether that's completely virtual, somewhat virtual, outside. We want to make sure that we do everything. We follow all the protocols. Refresh my screen here. Okay. So again, there's going to be a lot of nuances, and because no 2 schools are the same, it's some things will look different. So you're looking into, again, homework policy. Thank you for bringing that up. When can busing be changed? If I choose not to utilize the bus, then need to, when can that be adjusted? So you would just want to give us a call and let us know. And we would work with you. So that's the other part of needing to have all parents complete the survey, because our transportation department, our company, Hillman's, needs to make sure that they may have to change their routes, but they also need to know who would still be eligible for busing if they need to use it, and then need to make adjustments, because we want to make things as smooth as we can for everybody getting to school. Okay. Has there been discussion everywhere about which setting actually allows more social interaction? I see an advantage to small groups being possible in remote learning. Any thoughts to this? Well, in any remote setting, like I said, you can do small groups, breakout groups. In Zoom, they have little breakout rooms and different things like that. Which anytime you're doing that, it's your socialization. So there is that if you're, talking about remote. How are electives going to work for middle schoolers who only have one elective all year but can't change classes? So some of the things we're working out now with our electives are how we're going to present them, how we're going to work through them as far as, again, if they're part virtual, teachers moving to different classes to provide the instructions for our students. And that's one thing that as administration we're working on to finalize everything, because we want to make sure that students who want to do more than one activity can. So if they want band and would like to have art or something like that, that we work everything out. And again, these are the finite details in the schedule that we're trying to work out now as we prepare for the school year. As we're basically 3 weeks away, a little over 3 weeks away. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to read as I understand your answer. There will be only. Oops. Gotta go. As I'm understanding. Okay, so it looks like somebody wants clarification for live streaming into a classroom if there is a current student who needs to go remote. So if you have a current student that if there's a student that needs to go out on remote, that's when the live stream would occur. The only other time that would occur, more than likely, would be if you had a grade level where only 4 kids were on remote, and we wouldn't have just a class of 4 kids. But that's what the virtual part would be. That would be the live streaming part. What I am asking is how much opportunity will there be in the classroom? Seems like there might be more opportunity with remote. So, in a way, there's 2 ways of looking at it. So you can do small breakout rooms in Zoom. In the classroom, all the students are 6 feet apart. So you can make an argument on both sides that, because when you're remote, you can see the person, but you're not physically there. In the classroom, you're going to be socially distanced. You're going to be 6 feet apart, but you will be in a physical proximity to other people. So, that's how you can look at it. That's how I look at it that way. The last day of the first and second marking periods, that should be on our school calendar, which is up on the website. If it's not, I will make sure that gets up there. Few days, I'm just making myself a note. I apologize. I don't have them off the top of my head. Opportunities for socializing in the classroom. We'll do our best to have the kids to be able to socialize in the classroom while still social distancing. And what that evolves into, we'll take it from there. Okay. So, oops. Okay. As I'm sure we can all agree, the situation is difficult at best. Is there anything the school can expect of parents that are keeping their children home that wouldn't normally be the case? Parents that would be cute. So here's the thing: if you are making the decision to keep your child remote, it's the expectations are that the child is logged in for each of their classes, because teachers will take attendance for each class. If you have a question, run through the chain of command, reach out to the teacher. It's not that you're in a separate school or anything like that. Just reach out to the teacher. If it can't be resolved at that level, reach out to the principal. If it can't be resolved at that level, reach out to me. can I give a more specific example of how a kindergarten classroom would run with masks and social distancing? Well, you have your students 6 feet apart. They would have their masks on as per the governor, and they would be at their desk with their desk shield. And then, teachers would be able to give them a break to stand up and, kind of get the willies out. We want to have a schedule made up so that they can get outside, in between, different periods of instruction, get them outside, once a day or so. They would have their snack break or their lunch break, and instruction, will be from there. And teachers can have a teaching area, but all precautions are being taken. We have face guards for our teachers. We have transparent masks for our teachers, and that's especially important for our students so they can see what, facial expressions. They're important. How will teacher conferences? How will parent-teacher conferences take place this year? We can use our Zoom because we've acquired a lot of licenses. Some parents, in the past have not been able to make an in-person conference. They've done a telephone conference. So those would be the options because we want to limit the amount of visitors that come into school. So they wouldn't be quote unquote in person, but the same as we're conversing now, except there would be a two-way. As far as any refusals, that's something I can't discuss right now because it involves personnel. Let's see. Speech therapy, will it resume for kids that are remote? So, interestingly, the FAQ from the governor today stated that if students who need related services, but their parents have decided they want their child to be on remote, they can do teletherapy, but they can also come in to receive their speech therapy. So if you look at the FAQ, it's I believe it's 3/4, maybe a little bit further down on the FAQ that the governor had the Department of Education put out. Ms. Braidwood, and thank you too to Ms. Braidwood for all your hard work. Our shared supervisor of special services, especially helping us with our scheduling and our special needs population and our student and all of our students. So taking a look here, let me just make sure. No worry about typos. You're welcome. Yeah, we'll get the marking periods up there. Will teachers be able to teach from home in the case of snow? That's actually something that we've discussed too. Does that mean a snow day now means teaching from home as well if you already have a percentage of your population that's doing remote? My answer, me personally, as the soup here, is yes. I just want to get confirmation from the county that would count. I know that we had discussed that as our local superintendents in our county had talked about that. So I don't foresee any reason why teachers couldn't do a remote snow day if you have a teacher that's already teaching a remote class. Again, that's one of those things where you need to get county and DOE approval on it, because about 6 years ago there was a big discussion at the state level when there was like 7 or 8 days that schools had to make up because of snow. And there was, there was some back and forth between the state and the county, all the counties, as to what would count as far as remote instruction. But I think in light of the pandemic, I would lean on the side that if we had 6 inches of snow, that we could probably all teach remotely. But again, I have to get confirmation of that. So there's a chance I could come back on our next job with Joe and say either I don't have confirmation, or that's we're getting guidance from the county, because a lot of times then the county has to get guidance from Trenton. Okay, so does it count as remote during snow? And I'll say inclement weather day too, because sometimes snow's not bad, but we have to call in school off because of things like extreme ice or things like that. That's a great question. Thank you. Would it be possible? Please don't take away snow days too. Younger kids, so hard to sit at a desk. Would it be possible to get a small set of fun manipulatives for each child? They will need to have some downtime. It's a long day for them. It's definitely something to discuss. Definitely something to think about. To kind of help them decompress. During their day. That's definitely something to think about. It would just depend what the manipulatives are, to make sure they're not distracting to other students, or if depending how it would work. And again, that's something when you're talking about the little ones, I'm sure Mr. Silva could talk to the teachers when he's setting up his faculty meetings and PD and things like that. And that could lend itself to a nice little break for the students. Okay, so it's 4:22. We have we have a few minutes left because we usually do close to an hour. So I will take any final questions or anything like that. Okay, question as a parent. My daughter is in the preschool program. Will she be expected to live stream her class if it is remote? So preschool we have to talk about, right? Because we have our PALS, our CER preschool, and we have our BCS preschool. So depending what class, so more than likely, and that's kind of the exception, because we don't have multiple classes in pre-K. Can a picture of where all the entrances for each grade will be? Absolutely. Mr. Pratt is just about done putting up all of our new signs with our numbers. So different sides of the school. It's universal numbering. So there's a specific side of the school that's A. So you'll see like A1, A2. And then like my door is D17. So when that's completed, we can give you the map of where the different students of different grade levels will be able to come in. And then we have to work on times when somebody may have a second grader and a fourth grade student as to what that looks like and how we can best fit the needs of everybody. So asking about a survey to get feedback after the first few weeks. So it's actually part of state guidance, and it's in our reopening plan about teachers providing feedback loops is what the state had said. So yes, we will solicit feedback, from parents as far as how remote is going and different things like that, and solicit feedback from all of our stakeholders. And that's something we would do. We would look to do a couple times a year. Alrighty. Alrighty, so we got another minute or so left. Manipulatives could be used for a scheduled break time, just as they love their free time in the classroom. Fun materials could be stored. I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. I think every student needs a way to have a break, whether it's a stand-up break, a manipulative break. So again, Mr. Silva will, I'm sure he'll look more into that as our elementary principal. We do not have a max number of remote classes at this time. Okay. Alrighty. So I hope that the Java with Joes are helpful. I know that sometimes the answers that I give, I don't always have all the information, because I'm still like many people, not just superintendents, but parents, teachers, other administrators, waiting for guidance from the state. Wondering what the governor is going to say during his briefing every day, and different things like that. So I definitely I hope it helps. And you're welcome. Thank you for taking part. You're very welcome. And I do agree. This is hard for all of us. But, we have the the message is unity. And thank you again for those nice words. And I want to make sure that that I thank everybody who's part of this, and we'll all get through this together, and we'll keep moving forward to get our children the highest quality education. As far as future Java with Joes, I'll be setting some more up, as I'd like to keep this going, and not just this year, as we have what the governor likes to call a year that will be very different than others, but keeping them going in the future, hopefully on a weekly basis, and moving forward from there. Alrighty, so everyone, I hope the weather gets better. It looks like some sun's coming out now. I'm sorry, before I sign off, if you're having a difficult decision, I see a specific comment on there, please contact your principal, of your respective students, because they are really a wealth of knowledge as far as things running. So thank you all again. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. And all of you, stay safe, stay healthy. Have a great weekend.